Nia steps onto the marble, her sneakers squeaking as she enters the lobby. The chandeliers above cast fractured light, reflections dancing across the floor. She clutches her VIP pass, knuckles pale, eyes scanning the crowd. A white guest glides past Greg, the security guard, offering only a quick flash of a pass. Greg nods, barely glancing, his attention already drifting. Nia approaches, her breath slow, steady, rehearsed. She holds out her pass, the gold letters bright against her palm. Greg's gaze lingers on her face, then drops to her shoes, then back up. He doesn't smile. He doesn't greet her. He just waits, letting the moment stretch. A group of teenagers laughs behind her, their voices echoing off the high ceiling. Nia's hand trembles, but she doesn't pull back. She meets Greg's eyes, refusing to look away. He takes the pass, turning it over slowly, searching for something wrong. His lips curl, just a hint. Not quite. A smile. VIP, huh? He mutters, loud enough for the people behind her to hear. Nia nods, her voice caught in her throat. He glances at the line, then at her again, as if weighing her place. A woman in a red coat steps up behind Nia, sighs impatiently. Greg waves the woman through with a flick of his wrist. Nia stays put, her grip on the pass tightening. Greg finally looks at her again, eyebrow raised. "You sure you're in the right place?" Nia's jaw sets. She doesn't answer. She won't give him that. The marble beneath her feet feels cold, unforgiving. She shifts her weight, refusing to shrink. Greg's tone sharpens, but she stands firm, the pass still outstretched. The crowd flows. Around them, a river parting at a stone. Greg's authority fills the space, but Nia's quiet resolve is louder. He lets the pause linger, testing her patience, testing her worth. She doesn't move. She doesn't flinch. The lobby's lights flicker, catching on the gold of her pass, the brown of her skin, the steel in her eyes. In that moment, the divide is clear. His power, her dignity, and the invisible wall between. Before the story continues, please let us know from where you are watching this video. Write your city or country in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe and hit like if you believe in stories that challenge injustice. Your engagement gives power to voices that need to be heard. Greg's fingers drum against the podium, eyes fixed on Nia's pass. He lets out a low chuckle, shaking his head as if she's told a joke. "Nice try, sweetheart," he says, voice carrying just enough for the line to hear. Nia's jaw tightens, but her stare never wavers. She doesn't blink, doesn't look away, just stands there, letting the weight of his words settle. A woman behind her sighs, shifting her purse, impatience radiating. A child tugs at his mother's sleeve, eyes wide, watching. Greg leans back, crossing his arms, making no move to check the pass. He scans the crowd, searching for backup, for witnesses, for someone to agree. No. One steps forward. Nia raises her hand slightly, the pass steady, her voice even. "I'd like you to check it, please." Greg's lips press together, the hint of a smile fading. He glances at the pass, then back at her. "For returns, we need paper," he says, though this isn't a return, and they both know it. Nia's grip tightens, her knuckles white. She points to the sign on the wall. "Digital passes accepted." Greg doesn't turn. He keeps his gaze locked on her, testing, waiting for her to back down. The line behind her grows restless. A man coughs. A woman checks her watch. Nia's silence is deliberate, a refusal to be rushed or dismissed. Greg's radio crackles, a supervisor's voice in the distance. He shifts his weight, uncertainty flickering in his eyes. Still, he doubles down, voice sharper now. "You don't belong up there." Nia's response is quiet, almost a whisper. "Maybe check again." The words hang in the air, heavier than any shout. Greg's confidence wavers, his posture stiffening. Nia stands her ground, letting the pause stretch, letting him feel the discomfort he tried to give her. The crowd watches, the moment thick with judgment. Greg's authority shrinks, Nia's dignity grows, and the test is not hers to pass. A hush settles over the lobby, the kind that makes every shuffle and cough sound louder. Phones appear, screens glowing as a few people start recording, pretending to check messages but angling their cameras toward the standoff. A black usher, older, with silver at his temples, glances at Nia, recognition flickering across his face. He looks away quickly, lips pressed tight, memories surfacing. He's seen this before, lived it, and survived by staying quiet. A woman in a floral dress whispers to her friend, "What's happening?" Her friend shrugs, eyes darting between Greg and Nia, unwilling to intervene. Greg puffs out his chest, standing taller as if the eyes on him are applause. But his fingers tap out a nervous rhythm on the edge of the podium, betraying his unease. Nia's posture is unyielding. Her silence a challenge, her presence an accusation. No one in line steps forward, no one offers support, but no one leaves either. The security camera above pans slowly, its red light blinking, capturing every detail. A man in a business suit clears his throat, shifting from foot to foot, but says nothing. The cashier at the snack bar glances over, then quickly returns to counting change, not wanting to get involved. Nia's eyes flick to the camera, then back to Greg, letting him know she sees everything and so does the world. The tension is thick, the air heavy with things unsaid. A teenager lowers her phone, biting her lip, uncertain whether to keep filming or look away. Greg's jaw works, a muscle twitching as he senses the crowd's attention isn't the support he hoped for. Nia's stillness is unnerving. Her refusal to be rattled is a quiet act of defiance. The lobby feels smaller, the walls closer, the weight of complicity pressing on everyone present. No one speaks, but everyone feels the shift. The power Greg thought he held is slipping. And the whole room knows it. Heels strike the tile, sharp and deliberate, drawing every eye as Lisa Tran approaches. She weaves through the crowd, her expression unreadable, clipboard tucked under her arm. Greg straightens, clearing his throat, suddenly eager to appear in control. Nia doesn't move, her gaze steady, her pass still outstretched. Lisa stops between them, scanning Nia's pass, her brow furrowing as she reads the name. She glances at Greg, a question in her eyes, but he avoids her look, jaw clenched. The crowd leans in, the air charged with expectation. Lisa's fingers brush the pass, her voice low, careful. "Can I see your ID, please?" Nia nods, producing her wallet with a calm that borders on defiance. She hands it over, her hand steady. Lisa compares the names, her lips parting in surprise. Greg shifts his weight, a bead of sweat forming at his temple. Lisa's radio slips from her belt, static crackling as she presses the button. "VIP confirmed," she says, her voice echoing in the hush. Greg's face tightens, his confidence draining as Lisa turns to him. The crowd's attention sharpens, phones rising a little higher. Lisa hands the pass and ID back to Nia, her tone respectful now. "My apologies, Ms. Carter." Greg's fingers twitch, gripping the counter until his knuckles pale. Nia accepts her documents, her chin lifting just slightly. Lisa faces Greg, her eyes hard. "We'll talk after," she says, every word a warning. Greg's posture collapses, shoulders slumping as he realizes the ground is shifting beneath him. The lobby holds its breath, the moment stretching, the old order cracking. Nia's calm is no longer a question, it's the answer. Greg looks away, the crowd's judgment settling on his shoulders, heavier than any reprimand. A new authority fills the room, and it's not his. Lisa returns the pass to Nia, her hand steady, voice clipped but respectful. "My apologies, Miss Carter." Nia accepts it, her expression unreadable, but her eyes glint with something fierce. Greg stands frozen, badge dull under the fluorescent lights, fingers curling and uncurling at his side. He starts to speak, but the words catch. A faint, awkward cough escapes him instead. The crowd shifts, a ripple of movement as people step aside to let Nia through. She walks forward, shoulders back, head high, her presence undeniable. Greg's radio hisses, static filling the space where his authority once was. He fumbles for the volume, turning it down, avoiding every gaze. A woman in line murmurs to her friend, "She handled that." Her friend nods, eyes wide, phone still recording. The security camera above tilts, lens following Nia as she passes under the velvet rope. Lisa watches, arms crossed, lips pressed in a thin line. Greg's jaw works, but he says nothing, his confidence shrinking with every step Nia takes away from him. The VIP door opens with a soft click, the usher inside offering Nia a genuine smile. She nods, entering the exclusive section, her pass now a symbol of everything she refused to surrender. Outside, rain begins to tap against the glass, each drop a quiet drumbeat. Greg stands alone, the line moving on without him, his presence shrinking into the background. A man steps up, offering his ticket, and Greg checks it without a word, his hands suddenly clumsy. The moment is already fading for the crowd, but not for him. Nia disappears into the VIP lounge, the door closing behind her with a gentle thud. Greg exhales, shoulders sagging, the storm he started now raging quietly inside him. Outside, the rain falls harder, washing the sidewalk clean. Nia sits at the kitchen table, elbows pressed into the wood, watching her mother sort through a pile of mail. A hotel receipt slips free, fluttering to the floor. Her mother bends to pick it up, hands trembling just enough for Nia to notice. Nia remembers the front desk, the way the clerk's eyes narrowed as he asked for extra identification. Her mother's voice stayed calm, even as the clerk's tone sharpened. "It's just a standard check," he said, not meeting their eyes. Nia's mother smiled, lips tight. "We've already paid," she replied, sliding the confirmation across the counter. The clerk barely glanced at it, fingers drumming the keyboard, searching for a reason to delay them. Nia stood beside her, fists clenched in her pockets, wishing she could shout. Her mother placed a gentle hand on Nia's shoulder, steadying her. "Dignity is patience, baby," she whispered, voice soft but unbreakable. Nia swallowed, her anger, watching the way her mother refused to give the clerk what he wanted. The moment stretched, awkward and heavy, until the clerk finally handed over the key cards. Back in the kitchen, Nia's mother sips her tea, eyes tired but proud. Nia traces the rim of her mug, remembering that lesson. She feels the old frustration, the urge to fight, but also the power in her mother's restraint. Outside, a car passes, headlights sweeping across the window, pulling Nia back to the present. She glances at her phone, the video of Greg's laughter paused on the screen. History repeats, but this time, she's not just watching, she's ready. Her mother catches her eye, offering a small nod, silent approval. Nia straightens, resolving settling in her chest. She knows what to do now. She'll carry her mother's lesson into the world, one quiet act at a time. Lisa sits alone in the cramped office, a stack of old personnel folders spread across her desk. She flips through yellowed pages, the air thick with the scent of paper and something older. Resentment, maybe. Her fingers pause, on a letter marked Derek Miles, dated 5 years ago. She unfolds it, the paper soft at the creases. Derek's handwriting is neat, careful, but the words cut deep. 30 years on my feet, and still the last one trusted with a key. You wrote, Lisa reads on, her brow furrowing. He describes being passed over for promotions, his suggestions dismissed, his dignity chipped away by 1,000 small slights. He mentions Greg's predecessor by name, the same patterns, the same excuses. Nothing changes, Derek wrote, the ink smudged by a coffee ring. Lisa sighs, tracing the date with her thumb. She glances at the door, making sure no one is watching, then slips the letter into Nia's growing file. A janitor knocks, poking his head in to empty the trash. He nods politely, eyes flicking to the letter, then away. Lisa offers a tight smile, feeling the weight of the story in her hands. She closes the folder, the resignation letter now sandwiched between policy updates and training memos. Outside, Greg's laughter echoes faintly from the lobby. Lisa leans back, the chair creaking beneath her. She stares at the ceiling, the words, "Nothing changes," looping in her mind. She wonders how many more letters like this are buried in the files, unread and unaddressed. She presses the folder closed, resolves hardening. This time, she promises herself, the story won't be lost in the dust. She stands, tucks the file under her arm, and heads for the door, ready to face what's waiting outside. The gay security office hums with the sound of old computers and flickering monitors. A guard sits hunched over the desk, clicking through hours of footage. He pauses, rewinds, then lets the tape play. On the screen, Greg stands at the entrance, posture relaxed, chatting with a group of white teenagers. One boy flashes a wrinkled ticket, barely visible. Greg grins, waves him through without a second glance. The next teen, a girl in a varsity jacket, giggles as she skips past. Greg fist bumps her, laughing at something she says. The guard leans closer, squinting at the date in the corner. Last month. He clicks ahead, watching the same scene repeat. Different faces, same easy approval. No questions, no hesitation, just a friendly nod and a quick gesture to move along. The guard's hand trembles as he reaches for a blank USB drive. He copies the segment, labeling it quietly. Entrance 4. Friday. His phone vibrates on the desk. He glances at the screen. Nia's video is trending, notifications piling up. He looks back at the monitor, the split screen now showing Greg with Nia, the difference unmistakable. Greg's face is harder, his stance rigid, every movement deliberate. The guard swallows, feeling the tension in his own chest. He thinks of Derek's letter, the stories whispered in the break room. He wonders how many times this has happened, how many tapes no one ever bothered to watch. He slides the USB into his pocket, stands, and wipes his palms on his pants. A colleague enters, nods, and asks if he's seen the news. The guard just shakes his head, locking the office door behind him. He knows what he's seen can't be unseen now. He heads down the hallway, the weight of evidence pressing with every step. Tasha stands at the sink, scrubbing a coffee mug, her chipped nail polish flaking with each swipe. The break room is stuffy, fluorescent lights buzzing overhead. Greg's laughter drifts in from the lobby, sharp and careless, echoing off the tile. A new hire, pale and nervous, leans against the fridge, glancing toward the door. She asks, voice barely above a whisper, "What's going on out there?" Tasha doesn't look up, just shakes her head, lips pressed tight. She mutters, "This always happens." The new hire frowns, unsure if she should ask more, but the room's tension answers for her. Someone microwaves soup, the beep loud in the hush. A veteran cashier sits at the table, flipping through a worn magazine, pretending to read. He glances at Tasha, then at the door, then back down. No one mentions names, but everyone knows. Tasha rinses the mug, sets it upside down, water pooling around the rim. She wipes her hands on her apron, eyes lingering on the clock. Outside, Nia stands motionless, her phone raised, recording every word Greg spits. The new hire peeks through the blinds, then quickly steps back. She asks, "Should we do something?" The cashier shrugs, voice flat. "Not our place." Tasha's jaw clenches. She whispers, "It never is." The microwave dings. Someone laughs at a joke that isn't funny. The break room feels smaller, the air heavier, as if the walls themselves are tired of the same story. Tasha grabs her mug, heads for the door, pausing just long enough to look at the new hire. "Watch, you'll see." She leaves, apron strings trailing behind her. The new hire stands alone, the lesson clear. Some things are routine, even when they shouldn't be. Sophie Evans steps into the lobby, heels clicking, her blonde hair catching the light. She flashes, a crumpled pass, barely slowing as she approaches Greg. He grins, nodding, and waves her through with a quick flick of his wrist. She doesn't break stride, her perfume lingering in the air. Nia watches from her spot in line, her own pass pristine, untouched, still clutched tight in her hand. Greg's demeanor shifts the moment Sophie passes. His face hardens, eyes narrowing as he turns back to Nia. He doesn't check the details, doesn't ask Sophie to pause, doesn't question her right to enter. A group of college students follows Sophie, laughing, their passes barely visible. Greg lets them through, barely glancing up, his attention already back on Nia. The contrast is sharp, impossible to miss. Trust flows freely one way, withheld the other. Nia's thumb hovers over her phone, the video app open, red recording light blinking. She catches the eye of the cashier at the snack bar, who quickly looks away, pretending to rearrange candy bars. A security guard at the far. Doctor watches, jaw set, but says nothing. The line behind Nia grows, people shifting, some watching, others pretending not to see. Sophie disappears into the VIP section, her laughter echoing faintly. Nia glances at the sign on the wall. All guests. Welcome. She presses her lips together, fighting the urge to speak. Greg finally addresses her, voice flat. Let's see your pass again. Nia holds it out, arm steady, eyes locked on his. He inspects it, slower this time, as if searching for a flaw. The air feels charged, every small gesture magnified. Nia's phone vibrates with a new notification. Her video is already gaining views. She stands her ground, letting the moment stretch, refusing to be hurried or dismissed. The difference in treatment is clear, and this time, the world is watching. Lisa Tran steps out from behind the security desk, her heels striking the floor in a steady, deliberate rhythm. Each click draws the attention of staff and guests alike, the lobby's noise fading as she approaches. Greg stiffens, eyes darting from Lisa to Nia, then back to the crowd. Nia stands, motionless, her pass still extended, phone glowing in her other hand. Lisa's gaze is sharp, taking in the scene with practiced efficiency. She stops just short of Greg, her posture upright, voice calm but unmistakably firm. "Let me see the pass," she says, reaching out. Nia hands it over, their fingers brushing for a moment, a silent exchange of solidarity. Lisa examines the pass, flipping it over, checking the hologram and the name. Her brow furrows, lips pressed together as she glances at Greg. He looks away, jaw tightening, hands clasped behind his back. A child in line tugs at his mother's coat, whispering, "Why's that man scared?" The mother shushes him, eyes fixed on Lisa, waiting. Lisa pulls out her phone, typing quickly, cross-referencing the guest list. She reads the name, then looks up at Nia, her expression softening. "Thank you for your patience, Ms. Carter." Greg shifts his weight, the authority draining from his stance. Lisa turns to him, voice low but cutting. "We'll discuss this after." Greg nods, swallowing hard, his confidence unraveling in front of everyone. The crowd leans in, sensing the shift, some raising their phones, others simply watching. Lisa hands the pass back to Nia, her tone respectful. Nia accepts it, her grip steady, chin lifted. The lobby feels different now, the balance of power quietly shifting. Lisa's heels click again as she steps aside, making space for Nia to move forward. Greg remains rooted, the echo of Lisa's steps, a reminder that his control is slipping away. Lisa unlocks her tablet, the blue glow illuminating her face. She scrolls through the VIP guest list, finger pausing on a single name. Nia Carter. Bold and unmistakable. She tilts the screen toward Greg, her voice clipped. "Here, she's at the top." Greg's throat moves as he swallows, jaw set tight. He tries to muster a response, but the words tangle. Sometimes the names don't update right away. He stammers, eyes darting to the line. Lisa's gaze sharpens, not buying it. Nia stands silent, her phone recording, the red dot blinking in her palm. A murmur ripples through the crowd, someone whispering, "They always say that." Greg's hand hovers over the podium, fingers flexing, searching for something to hold on to. Lisa taps the list, her tone unwavering. She's been confirmed for days. Greg's face flushes, the authority draining from his features. He glances at Nia, then at Lisa, then back at the list, as if hoping the name will vanish. Nia doesn't move, her stance unyielding. Lisa looks at Greg, voice low but clear. "Explain." Greg fumbles, voice barely above a whisper. "I thought maybe she was with someone else." Lisa's lips press together, disappointment flickering in her eyes. The crowd grows quiet, tension thick as Greg's excuses falter. Nia's video captures every word, every flicker of doubt, every exposed lie. A security guard at the door shifts, his stance, watching Greg closely. Lisa straightens, tucking the tablet under her arm. She addresses the crowd, her voice steady. "Ms. Carter is a confirmed guest. There is no mistake." Greg lowers his head. The truth, undeniable. The line moves forward, people stepping around him, the moment of reckoning settling in the air. Nia's name remains on the list, bold and unerasable. Nia's phone vibrates, notifications stacking up, faster than she can read. Her video has exploded online, likes, retweets, hashtags, multiplying by the second. Screenshots of Greg's face circulate, paired with captions. "This is what we mean." Greg stands off to the side, scrolling his own phone, face draining as he sees himself trending. His wife's text pops up. "What happened? Why are you everywhere?" He doesn't answer, just locks the screen, jaw clenched. The arena's social media manager, Eddie, types furiously at his desk, issuing a statement. "We are investigating the incident with urgency." A reporter calls, voicemail filling up with requests for comment. Greg tries to explain to a coworker, voice low. "It's all out of context. They don't know what really happened." The coworker shrugs, not meeting his eyes, quietly sliding away. Tasha, the cashier, glances at her phone, then at Greg, then back to her register, lips pressed in a thin line. A group of teens in line whisper, one of them pulling up the video, showing it to the others. Greg overhears a snippet. He just let the white girl through, didn't even look. He shifts his weight, suddenly aware of every glance, every phone pointed his way. Nia stands off to the side, phone still in hand, watching the numbers climb. She doesn't smile, doesn't gloat, just waits, the storm swirling around her. Lisa approaches, voice quiet but firm. "We'll be handling this, Ms. Carter. Thank you for your patience." Nia nods, pocketing her phone, her dignity untouched by the chaos. Greg's locker, once crammed with snacks and jokes scribbled on sticky notes, feels like a cage now. He sits down, head in his hands, the noise of the internet closing in. The arena's statement is up, but the crowd wants more than words. Derek Miles lingers in the shadow of the hallway, his old usher's jacket hanging loose on his frame. He watches the lobby, eyes following Nia as she stands near the velvet rope. Her phone finally tucked away, Greg paces by the entrance, shoulders hunched, eyes darting from face to face. Derek catches Nia's gaze, nods once, slow and deliberate. Nia nods back. A silent understanding passing between them. No words needed. Greg's voice rises, pleading with Lisa. "It's a misunderstanding, I swear. I didn't mean—" Lisa holds up a hand, cutting him off. "We'll talk in my office." "Not here." Greg's mouth snaps shut, frustration flickering across his features. A young staffer at the ticket counter glances at Derek, then at Greg, uncertainty written all over her face. Derek gives her a reassuring smile, as if to say, "You're not alone." The crowd thins, but the tension lingers, heavy as ever. Lisa gestures for Greg to follow, her steps brisk and final. Greg hesitates, then moves, his feet dragging. Derek's hands, calloused from decades of work, clench and unclench at his sides. He remembers his own resignation letter, the words he wrote about being overlooked, about the patterns no one wanted to see. He watches Nia, pride and sorrow mingling in his eyes. Nia stands tall, shoulders squared, her resolve strengthened by Derek's silent support. The young staffer bites her lip, watching the exchange, learning in real time what courage looks like. Greg disappears down the hall. Lisa closes behind. Derek nods at Nia one last time, a promise that the fight isn't just hers. Nia nods back, gratitude flickering across her face. The pact is sealed, not in words, but in the quiet certainty that things will change because they must. The break room clock ticks past the hour, signaling the start of the shift change. Staff file in, voices low, eyes darting everywhere but toward Greg. He stands by the lockers, arms folded, trying to look busy as he organizes his things. A janitor enters, sweeping crumbs into a dustpan, pausing when he sees Greg, then quickly moving on. Tasha lingers by the coffee machine, pouring herself a cup, her back to Greg. She glances at her phone, scrolling through messages, shoulders tense. A group of younger employees cluster by the vending machine, whispering, their laughter forced and brittle. Greg clears his throat, hoping someone will acknowledge him, but no one does. Jared Kim, the director, steps in, folder under his arm, eyes scanning the room. He meets Greg's gaze for a split second, then looks away, sighing as he flips through paperwork. Greg's mug sits on the counter, the words, "World's Best Guard," faded and chipped. A staff member picks it up, examines the slogan, then quietly tosses it into the trash. Greg watches, jaw tight, but says nothing. Tasha finally turns, meeting his eyes for just a moment, then looks past him. She joins the others, her presence a silent rebuke. The break room feels colder, the hum of the fridge filling the awkward gap. A young man grabs his backpack, nods at Tasha, and leaves without a word to Greg. Greg stands alone, the weight of isolation settling on his shoulders. He checks his phone, scrolling through unanswered texts and missed calls. Jared calls out, "Let's get started." His tone, brisk, no warmth in his voice. The staff file out, leaving Greg behind, his reflection in the window smaller than he remembers. He lingers a moment longer, then heads for the door, the empty room echoing with everything left unsaid. Lisa stands by her office window, watching raindrops trace crooked lines down the glass. Her radio crackles to life, the static sharp in the quiet room. A voice comes through, clipped and official. "Security, please escort Greg Henson to the exit." Lisa closes her eyes for a moment, steadying herself. She turns to see Greg in the hallway, shoulders hunched, eyes pleading. He steps inside, voice trembling. "Lisa, please, I've got kids. I need this job." Lisa holds his gaze, remembering Derek's resignation letter, the stories she's read, the faces she's seen. She shakes her head, her voice soft but unwavering. "It's not just about this moment, Greg. It's about every moment like it." Greg's jaw works, desperation flickering across his face. He tries again. "I can change. I'll do better. Just give me another chance." Lisa's hand tightens around the radio, knuckles white. She nods to the security officers waiting in the doorway. One steps forward, gently guiding Greg by the arm. Greg resists for a second, then lets his hands fall to his sides. He glances back, at Lisa, searching for something in her expression. She looks away, unable to offer comfort. The officers lead Greg down the hall, his footsteps heavy, echoing against the tile. Staff watch from open doors, some with pity, others with relief. Nia stands at the end of the corridor, her face calm, eyes steady. Greg meets her gaze, his own filled with regret and fear. She doesn't flinch, doesn't look away. The doors to the arena close behind him with a final muffled thud. Lisa exhales, the weight of her decision pressing down, but she knows it was the only choice, the Radio falls silent, the static gone, leaving only the sound of rain and the new order settling in. Rain streaks the arena's glass walls, each drop tracing a new path through the city's neon glow. Nia stands by the window, her VIP badge cool in her palm, watching the water blur the world outside. Derek passes behind her, straightening his tie, a quiet pride in his step. He catches her eye, offers a small nod, and moves on to greet guests at the main entrance. Lisa updates the staff portal from her office, fingers moving quickly across the keyboard. Mandatory bias training begins Monday. A group of new hires gathers near the security desk, their faces a mix of nerves and hope. Tasha hands out fresh uniforms, her voice gentle, her smile genuine. The old guard is gone, and the air feels lighter, the tension replaced by cautious optimism. Greg's car sits alone in the parking lot, windshield fogged, wipers at rest. Inside, the crowd's cheers swell, music pulsing through the walls, unaware of the quiet revolution unfolding behind the scenes. Nia tucks her badge into her jacket, stepping away from the window as the announcement echoes overhead. Every guest, every voice, every story matters here. She walks through the lobby, staff greeting her with respect, no hesitation in their eyes. Derek opens the VIP door for her, his gestures slow and deliberate, a silent apology for every closed door before. Nia enters the lounge, the warmth of the room wrapping around her. She glances back once, watching the rain wash the glass clean. Lisa joins her, standing shoulder to shoulder, both women silent but certain. The arena feels different now, the first drops of justice soaking into its foundation. Outside, the rain keeps falling, steady and sure, promising more change to come. The conference room fills, glass walls reflecting anxious faces and restless hands. Nia sits at the end of the table, posture calm, phone silent in her lap. Greg enters last, shoulders hunched, eyes darting to every corner but never meeting hers. Lisa takes a seat beside Nia, her stack of notes crisp and organized. Jared Kim, the director, stands at the head, clearing, his throat as the staff settle in. The hum of the arena outside is muffled, replaced by the quiet tension of waiting. Greg's name tag sits crooked on his chest, the pin digging into his shirt. He fidgets with a pen, tapping it against his notebook, trying to steady his hands. Nia's gaze is steady, unwavering, her presence a silent challenge. A junior staffer glances at her, then at Greg, then quickly looks away, shifting in her seat. Lisa's pen clicks, a steady rhythm that cuts through. "The stillness," Jared begins, his voice measured. "We're here to address what happened at the entrance." Greg's jaw tightens, fingers curling around the pen until his knuckles pale. Nia remains quiet, her calm more powerful than any accusation. The glass walls make every movement visible, every reaction magnified. A security guard stands by the door, arms folded, eyes scanning the room. Lisa glances at her notes, then at Greg, her expression unreadable. Jared continues, "We have video statements and questions." The staff exchange wary looks, the weight of the moment pressing down on all of them. Greg finally looks up, meeting Nia's eyes for a split second before looking away. The storm is coming, and everyone in the room can feel it. No one dares to speak first, the truth hanging in the air, waiting to break. Jared opens the folder, sliding a printed guest list across the table. He points to the top where Nia Carter's name is highlighted in bold. Greg's eyes flicker, his jaw working as he tries to process what's in front of him. Jared's voice is low, almost incredulous. "You laughed when she walked in. Why?" Greg stares at the list, searching for an answer that won't come. He clears his throat, voice thin. "I thought, maybe she was in the wrong place." Lisa's eyes narrow, her disappointment clear. Nia sits motionless, her hands folded, letting the question hang. A staff member shifts in her seat, glancing at Nia, then at Greg, then down at her lap. The glass walls seem to close in, every eye in the room waiting for Greg to explain. Jared leans forward, his tone sharper. Her name is right here. First on the list, there's no mistake. Greg's fingers drum the table, a nervous tick he can't hide. He looks at Nia, then away, unable to meet her gaze. Lisa slides the list closer to him, her gesture deliberate. Take a good look, Greg. Greg's shoulders sag, the fight draining from him. He mumbles, I didn't check. I just assumed. The admission lands heavy, the room holding its breath. Nia's eyes never leave him, her silence louder than any accusation. Jared sits back, disappointment etched in every line of his face. The staff exchange uneasy glances, the reality settling. In Greg's authority shrinks, exposed by a single name in bold. No one speaks, the truth sitting between them, undeniable and uncomfortably clear. Nia unlocks her phone, the room's attention shifting as the screen lights up. She plays the video, the sound crisp and unmistakable. Greg's voice, dismissive and sharp. You don't belong. The clip loops, Greg's laughter echoing, each replay tightening the tension in the room. Staff members avert their eyes, discomfort etched on their faces. Lisa's jaw clenches, her hand still on the notes in front of her. Jared glances at Greg, then at Nia, then back at the phone, his expression hardening. Greg's face drains of color, his earlier bravado gone. He tries to speak, but the words catch in his throat. A junior staffer shifts in her seat, her hands twisting in her lap. The security guard by the door stands a little straighter, gaze fixed on Greg. Nia sits quietly, letting the video speak for itself, her silence more powerful than any outburst. The sound of Greg's laughter, once so casual, now feels cruel, exposed under the conference room lights. No one in the room moves to defend him. Lisa finally breaks the quiet, her voice low. Anything to say? Greg shakes his head, unable to meet anyone's eyes. Jared leans back, disappointment and anger mingling in his posture. The staff exchange glances, the reality of the situation settling in. Nia locks her phone, the video's final frame lingering, in everyone's mind. The room is heavy with what's been revealed, the truth impossible to ignore. No one speaks. The silence after the video louder than any accusation, any defense, any apology Greg could offer. Greg sits rigid, his hand gripping the edge of the table as if it might anchor him. His badge, once a symbol of pride, presses cold against his chest. Lisa slides a folder toward him, the resignation letter. From Derek peeking out, she doesn't raise her voice. Read it. Greg hesitates, then opens the folder, eyes scanning the neat handwriting. 30 years, it says. Passed over, dismissed, dignity chipped away piece by piece. Greg's throat tightens. He looks up, meeting Lisa's steady gaze. I was just doing my job, he says, voice thin. Jared's face hardens. Your job isn't to decide who belongs. Greg's fingers tremble, badge pin digging into his palm. He tries to defend himself, but the words die before they reach his lips. Nia sits quietly, watching, her expression unreadable. A staff member clears her throat, shifting in her chair, the discomfort in the room palpable. Lisa closes the folder, sliding it back. This isn't the first time, she says, her tone final. Greg's shoulders slump, the fight gone from his posture. He glances at Nia, then at the badge in his hand, its shine dulled by sweat. He presses his thumb against the pin, a bead of blood welling up, unnoticed by anyone but him. The room waits, the unraveling complete. Greg's authority, once unquestioned, now hangs by a thread. No one moves, everyone waiting for what comes next. He lowers his head, the badge slipping from his grasp, landing on the table with a dull clatter. The sound marks the end of something, even if no one says it out loud. Greg stares at the badge in his palm, the metal cold, edges digging into his skin. He looks around the room. Jared's eyes are hard, Lisa's expression unreadable. Staff watching from the corners waiting. Nia sits quietly, her presence steady, her silence a verdict. Greg's breath shudders out. He sets the badge on the table, the sound sharp against the glass. No one speaks. Lisa reaches over, sliding the badge away, her movements measured, almost gentle. Greg's shoulders sag, the weight of the moment pressing down. He glances at Nia, searching for anger or pity, but finds only calm. A staff member at the back of the room lets out a slow breath, the tension easing just a little. Jared nods, the decision final. Nia folds her hands in her lap, her mother's words echoing in her mind. Dignity wins. Greg's hands fall to his sides, empty now. He stands, uncertain, looking smaller than before. Lisa gathers the badge and folder, her voice quiet. We'll be in touch about next steps. Greg nods, unable to speak. He walks to the door, each step heavy, the glass wall reflecting his retreat. The staff watch, some relieved, others uneasy, all changed by what they've witnessed. The badge sits on the table, a symbol of what's been lost and what's finally been acknowledged. Nia exhales, her resolve unbroken, her place in the room undeniable. Outside, the arena's lights glow, the world moving on. But inside, something fundamental has shifted. Greg pauses at the door, glances back once, then leaves, the sound of his exit lingering long after he's gone. Jared stands, microphone in hand, offering it to Nia for a public statement. She shakes her head, lips pressed together, refusing the spotlight. Greg lingers by the door, voice barely above, a whisper. I'm sorry, he says, the words thin, lost in the hum of the air vents. Nia doesn't respond, her expression cool, gaze fixed on the table. Lisa watches her, understanding the apology isn't hers to accept. Greg shifts his weight, hoping for a nod, a word, any sign of forgiveness. None comes. A staff member clears her throat, breaking the tension, but the moment remains heavy. Jared lowers the microphone, the gesture awkward, unnecessary. Greg's apology hangs in the air, unsatisfying, incomplete. Nia's silence is deliberate, a boundary drawn. She stands, gathering her things, moving with quiet purpose. Lisa meets her eyes, offering a small nod of respect. Greg looks at his hands, regret etched in every line. He tries again, voice cracking. I didn't mean for this to happen. Nia pauses, glances at him, then away. Her message is clear. Some wounds aren't healed with words. Jared addresses the room, shifting focus. We'll be reviewing our training and policies. The staff nod, some relieved, others still tense. Greg steps aside as Nia passes, his apology trailing after her, unanswered. She leaves the room, dignity intact, the power dynamic reversed. Lisa gathers the paperwork, her face set, determined to make this more than a gesture. The staff disperse, the apology already fading, replaced by the reality of what must change. Greg stands alone, his words dissolving into the background noise, the lesson lingering for everyone who witnessed it. Tasha pins a new badge to her shirt, the words, Inclusion Ambassador, catching the light. She avoids Greg's gaze as he shuffles past, his steps uncertain, shoulders hunched. Derek stands, near the exit, posture straighter than usual, his replacement badge shining. Staff gather in small groups, voices low, glances quick and loaded. A young employee fiddles with her lanyard, eyes darting between Greg and the others, unsure where to stand. Greg's shadow stretches across the break room floor, thin and brittle, shrinking with every step. No one offers him a seat or a word. Tasha pours herself a coffee, hands steady, the act deliberate. She joins Derek, who nods in silent approval. Greg lingers at the edge of the room, isolated by the very people who once laughed at his jokes. A supervisor enters, clipboard in hand, announcing new training sessions. The staff nod, some eager, some resigned, all changed. Derek catches Tasha's eye, a silent pact forming between them. Things will be different now. Greg tries to speak, but his voice falters, lost in the shuffle. A junior staffer offers Tasha a seat, a gesture of quiet respect. Greg's presence fades, his influence gone, replaced by a new sense of purpose among the team. The glass walls outside reflect the shifting dynamic, transparency replacing old secrets. Tasha sips her coffee, watching as the staff move on, united in their resolve. Derek smiles, the moment not lost on him. Greg slips out, unnoticed, the truth of his actions finally exposed for all to see. Lisa cracks open the window, letting in a rush of cool air tinged with the scent of rain. The first drops tap against the glass, steady and persistent. Greg stands by the exit, pleading one last time. "I have a family. Please just let me explain." His words are swept away by the wind. Nia wraps her scarf tighter, the fabric fluttering like a quiet flag of resolve. Jared updates the staff portal, fingers moving quickly. Employment terminated, effective immediately. Outside, the sky darkens, thunder rumbling in the distance. The staff gather near the windows, watching as Greg's figure recedes into the parking lot. His steps slow, shoulders bowed. Tasha leans against the wall, arms folded, face unreadable. A new hire whispers, "Will it really change now?" Derek answers with a nod, his confidence quiet but certain. Lisa closes her laptop, the decision final, no room for second-guessing. The rain intensifies, streaking the windows, washing away footprints on the sidewalk. Inside, the mood shifts. A sense of relief, but also the weight of responsibility. Nia stands apart, watching the storm build, knowing the hardest work is just beginning. Jared glances at the staff, his voice steady. "We hold each other accountable now." The team nods, some with hope, others with caution. Greg's car pulls away, taillights fading into the gray. Lisa turns from the window, meeting Nia's eyes. No words are needed. The promise is clear. The storm outside mirrors the transformation. Within, messy, necessary, and unstoppable. The glass door swings shut behind Greg, the soft thud echoing down the empty hallway. He pauses, hand lingering on the cool metal, listening to the muffled sounds of the arena on the other side. Inside, the staff exhale, tension slipping from their shoulders. Nia adjusts her VIP lanyard, the weight of it finally familiar. Derek stands by the exit, holding the door open for her, his nod saying more than words ever could. Greg glances back once, catching a glimpse of the staff gathered together, their faces turned away from him. He steps outside, the night air sharp against his skin, rain still falling in steady sheets. His footsteps splash through shallow puddles, each step heavier than the last. He looks down at his hands, empty now, no badge, no authority left to cling to. A car drives by, headlights briefly illuminating his face, drawn and tired. He keeps walking, the arena's lights fading behind him. Inside, Lisa pins Derek's resignation letter to the bulletin board, a reminder of what's been lost and what's finally been faced. The staff gather in the break room, voices low but hopeful, the old order gone. Nia lingers by the window, watching Greg's silhouette disappear into the rain. She feels the shift, the balance resetting, justice settling in quietly. Derek joins her, his presence steady, a silent reassurance. The door's echo fades, replaced by the hum of a new beginning. Greg doesn't look back again. He knows there's nothing left for him here. Inside, the arena pulses with new energy, the past finally giving way to change. The arena lights dim, casting a soft glow over the crowd as the evening's main event begins. Nia settles into her seat, VIP badge resting against her chest, the tension of the day replaced by a quiet pride. Laughter and music drift from the stage, the audience unaware of the transformation backstage. Lisa stands at the back of the room, watching the staff move with newfound confidence. Derek greets guests at the door, his voice warm, his smile genuine. Tasha checks tickets, her Inclusion Ambassador badge shining under the lobby lights. A group of new hires gathers near the entrance, their uniforms crisp, their faces eager. The old security desk sits empty, Greg's chair pushed in, dust already settling on the armrests. Lisa pins Derek's resignation letter to the bulletin board, a silent promise that stories like his won't be forgotten. Staff exchange glances, a sense of unity growing among them, the old divisions fading. Nia glances around, noticing the subtle changes, the way people greet her, the way doors open without hesitation. The rain outside slows, streaks on the glass catching the city lights. Jared circulates through the lobby, offering quiet encouragement, his presence reassuring. A guest stops to read the new sign above the entrance. Every guest welcome. The words feel real now, not just a slogan. Nia smiles, her resolve reflected in the faces of those around her. The arena pulses with new energy, the past finally giving way to something better. Inside, hope takes root, quiet but unshakable. The night continues, the world shifting, one small act of dignity at a time. Greg sits hunched in the back booth, rain streaking the diner window beside him. His phone glows with news alerts. Security guard fired after viral incident. Arena implements new policy. He scrolls through comments, each one sharper than the last. A waitress approaches, refills his coffee, eyes never meeting his. He nods, mumbling thanks, but she's already gone. The coffee is bitter, but he drinks it anyway, hands trembling around, the chipped mug. A couple at the next table leans away, their toddler dropping a spoon. The clatter makes Greg flinch. He glances at the door, then back at his phone, thumb hovering over a text from his daughter. "Dad, call me." He doesn't reply. He locks the screen, shoves the phone into his pocket, and stares at the swirling steam. A family enters, laughter echoing, cheeks pink from the cold. The father's gaze lands on Greg, recognition flickering, then quickly gone, as they choose a booth far away. Greg's reflection in the window is warped, rainwater distorting his features. He rubs his face, eyes tired, shoulders slumped. A news alert buzzes. Arena launches diversity training. He silences it, jaw tightening. The waitress wipes the counter, circles the same spot over and over. Greg's hands shake as he lifts the cup, trying to steady himself, but the tremor won't stop. The bell above the door jingles as the family leaves. Greg watches them go, wishing he could disappear too. A couple whispers glancing his way. He shifts in his seat, uncomfortable in his own skin. The diner's hum feels louder, the lights harsher. He takes a deep breath, lets it out slow. His badge sits heavy in his pocket, edges digging into his thigh. He doesn't take it out. He just sits, listening to the rain, the sound of footsteps fading, the world moving on without him. Morning brings a new rhythm to the arena's entrance. Guests line up, greeted by staff whose faces reflect every shade of the city. A young woman with box braids scans tickets, her smile genuine, her voice warm. A man in a turban welcomes families, offering directions without hesitation. Tasha stands by the door, her Inclusion Ambassador badge gleaming, nodding to each guest with quiet pride. Old regulars pause, noticing the change. Some nod approval, exchanging glances with the new hires. Others hesitate, uncertain, but no one turns away. The security desk feels different. No more cold stares, no more suspicion. A mother with 2 children approaches, her daughter clutching a stuffed bear. The girl beams as the staffer kneels to greet her, sticker in hand. Laughter ripples through the lobby, light and unforced. Derek watches from the side, arms folded, a satisfied smile softening his features. Lisa checks her tablet, quietly observing, making sure every guest is welcomed, every question answered. A guest stops to read the new sign above the entrance. Every guest welcome. He nods, snapping a photo, sharing it with friends. The old guard is gone, replaced by a team that sees and values everyone. Nia enters, passing through the doors with ease, her VIP badge barely glanced at. No one questions her place. She smiles, catching Tasha's eye, a silent thank you passing between them. The arena feels lighter, the tension of the past replaced by cautious optimism. Outside, the rain has stopped, sunlight streaming through the glass, illuminating a new beginning for everyone who walks through these doors. Nia stands at the edge of the stage, nerves humming beneath her calm. The auditorium fills, rows of young faces looking up, waiting. She glances at her notes, then lets them fall to her side. Her voice is steady, clear, carrying to the back of the room. "I never wanted to be a headline," she begins, eyes sweeping the crowd. A hush settles, every ear tuned to her story. She tells them about the lobby, the pass, the way a single moment can reveal everything. She doesn't name Greg, doesn't need to. The lesson is bigger than one man. A girl in the front row nods, eyes shining. A boy in the back leans forward, elbows on his knees. Nia's words gather strength, each sentence building on the last. "I stood there because my mother taught me, dignity isn't loud. It's steady. It's refusing to shrink." A teacher wipes her eyes, pride and sorrow mingling. Nia pauses, letting the weight of her story settle. "I want you to know you belong, even when someone tries to tell you otherwise." Applause builds, hesitant at first, then growing, filling the space with hope. Nia smiles, a quiet triumph in her eyes. She steps back, heart racing, knowing her voice has reached them. The crowd stands one by one, a ripple of support moving through the room. Nia bows her head, gratitude welling up. She leaves the stage, not just a headline, but a leader, her story now a beacon for others to follow. Lisa stands at the front of the training room, sunlight streaming through the windows, casting patterns on the carpet. Staff fill the chairs, some arms folded, others with notepads ready. She begins, her voice calm but unwavering. "We're here to talk about what happened and what must never happen again." A few employees shift in their seats, discomfort flickering across their faces. Lisa clicks to the first slide, dignity, bias, and change. She doesn't mention names, but everyone knows. Tasha takes notes, her pen moving quickly. A young guard raises his hand, voice hesitant. "What if we don't see it happening?" Lisa nods, meeting his uncertainty with patience. Then you ask. You listen. You don't look away. Derek sits near the back, arms crossed, expression thoughtful. Lisa shares Nia's story, her tone respectful, not sensational. She pauses, letting the lesson settle. "We're not just protecting a building, we're protecting trust." A supervisor clears her throat, glancing at her team. Lisa continues, "It's not about blame, it's about responsibility." She invites questions, encouraging honesty. A staff member admits, "I never realized how easy it was to go along." Lisa nods. Change starts with noticing. The room grows quiet, the message sinking in. She ends the session with a promise. "We will do better. Together." Applause is soft but genuine. A collective step forward. Lisa gathers her notes, locking eyes with Tasha and Derek, seeing their resolve. Outside, the arena buzzes with new energy, each staff member carrying the lesson into the day. Change doesn't end with training, but it begins here, with accountability and with hope. Greg walks, his usual route home, hood pulled low against the drizzle. A neighbor across the street spots him, tugs her child's hand and crosses to the opposite sidewalk. He slows, watching her hurry away, her face turned toward the ground. A man mowing his lawn kills the engine as Greg passes, pretending to check the blades. Windows that once framed, friendly waves now close, curtains drawn tight. Greg's footsteps echo on the wet pavement, each one heavier than the last. He glances up at a house where he once borrowed sugar. The porch light flickers off, A teenage boy, backpack slung over one shoulder, stares at Greg, then ducks inside, door shutting quickly behind him. The street feels longer, emptier, every familiar landmark suddenly distant. He passes the corner store. The cashier inside looking up, then busying himself with a stack of magazines. Greg's phone buzzes in his pocket, but he doesn't check it. A dog barks from behind a fence, the sound sharp in the quiet. He turns onto his block, shoulders hunched, the drizzle soaking through his jacket. A neighbor's car pulls into a driveway, the driver waiting until Greg is passed before stepping out. He reaches his front door, keys cold in his hand, glancing back at the empty street. No one waves, no one calls his name. He unlocks the door, steps inside, and lets it close behind him. The sound, final. Greg stands in the hallway, listening to the muted world outside, the silence louder than any accusation. He realizes the verdict isn't written in headlines, but in every small act of distance, every friendship quietly withdrawn. Nia sits at the kitchen table, sunlight spilling across stacks of envelopes and bouquets. Her mother reads a card aloud, voice trembling with pride. "Thank you for showing my daughter she matters." A phone buzzes with new messages, texts, emails, social media tags, all brimming with support. Her younger brother sorts through the pile, holding up a drawing from a local school. Nia's name in bright colors, surrounded by hearts. Neighbors stop by, some with homemade cookies, others just to say, "We're proud of you." Nia's father stands at the stove, stirring soup, glancing over with a soft smile. A cousin calls from out of town, voice crackling with excitement. "You're on the news, but more than that, you're making a difference." Nia blushes, unused, to the attention, but her mother squeezes her hand. "You didn't just stand up for yourself, you stood up for all of us." Messages pour in from strangers, some sharing their own stories, others simply offering thanks. A neighbor's child drops off a handmade bracelet, shyly placing it in Nia's palm before darting away. Nia's grandmother leaves a voicemail. "You made us all a little braver today." The kitchen fills with laughter, the tension of the past week slowly melting away. Nia feels the warmth of community, the sense that her quiet courage has rippled outwards. She looks around at her family, at the cards and flowers, at the faces of those who love her. For the first time in days, she breathes easy, knowing she is not alone. The world outside may still be changing, but here, in this kitchen, hope is real and close, and hers to keep. A new banner hangs above the arena entrance, bold letters spelling out, "Every guest welcome," visitors pause. Some snapping photos, others reading the words twice, smiles flickering across their faces. Inside, the lobby feels transformed. Staff wear pins with the same message, uniforms crisp, greetings warm and sincere. A father points out the sign to his daughter explaining, "That means everyone belongs here." Nia enters through the main doors, her badge barely glanced at, her presence met with nods and genuine welcomes. Tasha greets guests at the ticket counter, her voice bright, her posture proud. Derek stands by the velvet rope, holding it open. For a group of teenagers, his smile easy and inviting. Lisa checks the flow of arrivals, watching the small moments of kindness multiply. A woman in a wheelchair rolls up to the desk, staff moving quickly to assist, no hesitation or awkwardness. The old tension is gone, replaced by a sense of possibility. A guest lingers by the wall, reading the arena's new statement printed in gold. "We honor every story." He nods, snapping a picture, sharing it with friends online. The arena's website echoes the change, with the homepage updated with the same promise. Staff gather for a quick meeting, Lisa reminding them, "This isn't just a slogan, it's our standard." Nia glances around, seeing the difference in every interaction, every open door. The words on the banner aren't just decoration. They're a commitment, lived out in real time. As the crowd flows in, the arena pulses with welcome. The promise in print now, a promise kept. Nia sits on a bench outside the arena, dusk settling over the city. The sounds of laughter and music drift through the open doors, blending with the distant hum of traffic. She watches families come and go, each one welcomed without hesitation. Her phone buzzes with a message from her mother. "Proud of you always." Nia smiles, slipping the phone into her pocket, letting the moment linger. She remembers her mother's words. Change doesn't roar, it whispers. Inside, staff move with new purpose, small acts of kindness weaving through their routines. Derek helps an elderly guest find her seat. Tasha offers directions to a lost child. Lisa pauses to thank a volunteer. No speeches, no spotlights, just quiet shifts that ripple outward. Nia stands, watching the arena glow in the evening light, its windows reflecting a world a little more just. A young girl approaches, shy, clutching a program. She looks up at Nia, voice soft. "You're the reason I feel safe here." Nia kneels, meeting her gaze, and says, "You belong. Don't let anyone tell you differently." The girl beams, running back to her family, hope in her steps. Nia breathes in the cool night air, feeling the weight of what's changed and what still needs to. She walks away from the arena, her legacy, not in headlines but in the quiet confidence she's left behind. The world isn't perfect, but tonight it's better, because she stood her ground and others listened.